So I just got back from LA, and right before I left, on my way to the airport, the main man, Corey Kenshin, dropped an absolute banger of a video.
YouTube, you guys either play favorites, you are racist, or it's a mix of the two. These are the three options, YouTube.
He levied some pretty serious accusations against YouTube, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit in this video because I kind of have a lot of thoughts around these types of subjects when it comes to YouTube in general. The stuff that Corey talked about was very specific to his use case about what was going on with his channel. And he accused YouTube of playing favorites and possibly being racist against black creators and other creators of color when they upload their content. Let's face it, I come from a place of immense privilege being a white man on the internet, so I can't speak for the racist side of things, but he brought up some pretty good points that are kind of hard not to think about in that regard, because he brought up a bunch of receipts as well, talking about his instances with the YouTube rep that he had. And just to kind of break it down for you, he uploaded The Mortuary Assistant, and his video got age restricted because of a certain section got to do with self-harm and dealing with the themes of suicide and everything. If you've watched my series on The Mortuary Assistant, you know what scene that is. And he got frustrated by it because it got age restricted, and then he started searching around other YouTubers to see if theirs was age restricted, and it wasn't.
No one else's was age restricted. So I appealed the restriction. Hey guys, I'm not sure why mine got age restricted. Could you look into this? Appeal rejected.
But I should clarify this, that I talked to Corey a little bit about this. I was texting him after his video went out to talk about it, because I really liked his video, and I'm really glad that he did it and brought up a lot of these points. But he said that he checked my video as one of the first ones he went to see if it got age restricted, and at the time it wasn't. But my video has been age restricted since the 15th of August. Corey's scenario that happened was that his video got age restricted. He looked around. Some other YouTubers didn't have age restrictions on their content either. And he went to some other channels like Markiplier's to see if theirs got restricted as well, because like a big creator who's seen very favorably in YouTube's eyes, and had like a very popular video about Mortuary Assistant as well, wasn't age restricted. So he felt a bit targeted as a result of that, which, fair enough, this happens all the time, and I'll get to that in a minute as well. But he went back to his YouTube rep and was like, hey, why is mine age restricted when Mark's isn't, and it has the exact same scene in it? And then suddenly his got greenlit. It was fine. They took the age restriction off and everything went about their business. And then he started to get pretty mad about it, which I completely understand, because why is that the scenario? Why is that the order of operations?
Now, my YouTube rep, he was excited. He was, oh, great, this is awesome. Look, Corey, they took the age restriction off. I said, why? I expected them to triple down and give Markiplier an age restriction too. But they looked at Mark's video and they used that to verify my innocence.
And then sent a pretty scathing email to his YouTube rep, which, fair play to you. I'm very proud of you, Corey, for doing that, because it takes a lot to stand up to these types of things that are happening whenever they do happen, because it's a big system, and a lot of times we're left to feel very dumb in regards to what's going on at YouTube, like we just don't understand the system. And then this happens and you're like, why? What the hell is going on? Why did it suddenly get greenlit when it only was because I mentioned it? And then they turned around and age restricted him again and age restricted Mark's video.
And what do you know? They re-age restricted the video. They re-age restricted the video. I say, no way did they do that. I go to Markiplier's video now, and now his video is age restricted. They got caught with their pants down.
And I don't know if that's when mine got age restricted as well. I think Corey actually uploaded his after mine, so maybe not. But at the same time, it highlights a huge problem on the platform. And I want to talk a little bit about that, not just Corey's case, but my sort of experiences with it as well. Because the amount of times, and I have very good evidence of this as well, because I have a girlfriend who does the exact same job as me in the other room. And a lot of times we upload the same games. And this has happened a couple of times now where we'll both upload the same game, her video will get flagged or claimed or something like that, and mine will be totally fine. And then she's wondering why mine is clear. And I'm also like, yeah, that's so weird. Why is mine suddenly fine? Like, did they just not flag me because I'm a bigger creator? And then sometimes a couple of days will go by and then I'll get flagged for it. But it's like, why did hers get flagged instantly and mine didn't? Because she got flagged for the mortuary assistant as well, got age restricted for the same scene. And it took days before mine did. When you think, if it's supposed to be that obvious that it's in the system and these types of scenes are happening and they get auto-flagged by this system, shouldn't it be consistent across everybody's? I don't want special treatment because I'm a bigger YouTuber. I don't want special treatment because I've been on the platform for a while, or maybe my content has been a bit more palatable to a lot of people and I don't like rock the boat. I mean, I swear a lot of my content, and that's been something in the past where I'm like, is my stuff getting restricted because of that? But for the most part, my content is totally fine. And I think because of that, then they come to me and they're like, no, we're not going to flag you because you're fine. You normally are green in the system, which is a massive problem as well, because I have the benefit of, there's been a couple of times when this has happened to me and Evelyn, where we go to our YouTube rep and say, why is this age restricted? Why did this get flagged? Why am I ad limited on my videos? And then they'll come back and be like, let me look into it. They go to the policy team, come back saying, sorry, it was a false flag. And then everything gets greenlit again. And now this has nothing got to do with my YouTube rep. I have nothing against him. I actually really, really love my YouTube rep. He's amazing. He always has my back and really fights for me whenever I ask him to. He's as transparent as he can be with the information that he has all the time. So this is nothing against him. He's just my point of contact to get to YouTube's policy team. And I don't think even he has all the answers most of the time. So I don't want if anybody at YouTube is watching this, please don't say anything to them in regards to this, because they are phenomenal and I'm really glad that I have them. But at the same time, I keep thinking about what it's like if you don't have a YouTube rep to talk to this stuff about. Like, there's a lot of smaller creators out there that get stuff flagged for the same reasons, and then they don't have anybody to talk to, and it just stays flagged for a long time. And what happens because of that is when your stuff gets like a yellow symbol on it, you get demonetized, or you get ad limited suitability, or you get claimed, or anything like that. It just kills your search rankings, because YouTube don't want to promote something that can go out to people that's claimed or has some sort of sensitive material or something in it. So you just don't end up in people's recommendations. You don't end up in suggested videos. You don't get pushed to as many people as you would if you were greenlit in the system. So there's a lot of creators out there who are probably getting hit with stuff that shouldn't be. And one of my instances was that I can't remember the video off the top of my head right now, but I got it flagged. Then I went to my YouTube rep about it and they put it into the system and were like, yeah, that's weird. Why did that happen? And then it came back and it was greenlit and they were like, we don't know what happened, but what might have been the cause is that something in the auto captions had like underscores in it. And whenever YouTube want to censor swear words, it puts underscores into the auto-generated captions. So it might have thought that I was swearing where I wasn't swearing and auto-flagged the video, which is a massive issue whenever you upload a video and most of your views come within the 24-hour period that it's uploaded. And then maybe it hits the algorithm later and takes off. But a lot of my views come in that first 24-hour period or 48 hours. And if something like that happens immediately, it crushes the video. It can't really take off again as much as it probably once could. And there's just a whole mess of issues around it in regards to that. So that inconsistency with uploading and that kind of check system that's going on is really bothersome. And sometimes I'll upload a video. Today, I'm trying to get an eye tracker video done that had like some nudity in it, but we were trying really hard to like censor it as best we could so that it was like you can't actually see anything in the video. And it kept getting restricted immediately every time I uploaded it, no matter how many censors we were putting onto it. And I was like, fine, there's a lot of implied stuff in it. I get it. It's a very like risque kind of video. And I knew that before even recording the video. But we kept uploading and I was like, you know what, at one point I'll just try an appeal on it to see what they say. Maybe they'll tell me exactly what actually is getting flagged, because I have no idea. I don't know if it's some of the implied nudity, some of the stuff we're covering up with pictures, some of the stuff that's pixelated. There's some male like top body nudity in it, which that double standard has existed for a while, where that's totally fine, showing male nipples, but anything else then is deemed way too sensitive, which is a whole other topic for a different discussion. But I was like, okay, maybe it's that. But then all of a sudden, the appeal came back and the video was greenlit. And I don't know why. I don't know why suddenly it's fine because somebody looked at it and was like, actually, yeah, this video is fine. Why is it getting flagged? So it's this imbalance between the system flagging stuff versus like a manual reviewer flagging it. And a lot of times I don't know which is doing it. I don't know which is which. I don't know who's actually checking this stuff or what's checking this stuff, why it's getting flagged. And that, I think, is the biggest issue with all of this, is that lack of communication and transparency and willingness to know what we're getting flagged for. And that's been an issue for a really long time on the platform. Because not only can that happen, but the reverse can happen as well, where I get something flagged, then it gets greenlit by somebody at YouTube, supposedly, and then suddenly I upload the video, and then 5 days later, I'm like, okay, it's clear, great. Now I'm happy because I know that that video is fine because someone manually reviewed it. And then a couple of days go by, and then it gets flagged again, and I can't appeal it. That's a really big problem for anybody doing this kind of job. And again, I come from a place of huge privilege where I have the ability to actually talk to them about it. Can you imagine if you don't have that ability? What are you going to do about your content? You're just sitting there with it in limbo, wondering if the next thing you upload is actually going to get flagged as well, and you're second guessing everything. And that sort of like second guessing of stuff has really killed my sort of creativity when it comes to content, or like, it just pulls me out of it. Whenever I'm recording something and I'm thinking, man, is this going to get flagged? Do I have to edit this out? And all of these filters going through my brain just kind of like pulls me out of the moment and pulls me out of my own content, where I just want to sit here and have fun and record stuff. And I know these systems are in place for good reasons, like to keep children safe, to keep pornographic content off the platform. Like, for the reasons that they're implemented, they're very good reasons for them being there. And I completely understand that and don't want them to go away. I just wish it was more consistent and a bit more transparent as to what's going on. Because right now it feels like you get flagged for some sort of stuff and they won't tell you what it is because either they don't know or they don't want to tell you, because then it'll like poke holes in the system. And I guess this is a good jumping off point to the next point, which is that there's a big issue with users flagging videos these days as well. And I'm speaking all of this anecdotally because I don't have any like crazy proof of this. It's just kind of what I go through and what I see others go through and the stories that I hear from them, is that users can flag videos. And if you get mass reported for something, I think then YouTube pays attention to it and does something about it. And a recent example of this was that the Corridor Digital people got their channel hacked. And they got mass reported by people watching the video to be like, hey, your channel's hacked, or we want this taken down, or something like that. And then their whole channel was removed from YouTube. So it made me think, what happens if you're not hacked and people report you en masse like that as well? Do YouTube actually check it and then be like, no, that's fine, we'll keep it? Or is it automated where the system will just take your channel down anyway if you just get mass flagged for something? Because what if somebody uploads something and other people don't like it and then it gets mass reported? Like, I don't know the systems in place for users flagging videos like that. Or if somebody finds something unsavory or they didn't find it funny or something like that, can't they just abuse the system then to get something they don't like addressed? And again, I could be talking out of my ass on this one, and it could not actually be like that. And there could be way more systems in place to protect people from that. But again, I don't know. And the fact that I don't know in these scenarios, and I'm guessing, is a massive problem. We should know, especially as people on this platform that are like all these massive creators that are bringing in so much revenue for YouTube. And the fact that we don't know exactly how you address these types of things, I think is a really big problem. Because this happened a while ago as well, between Charlie and Mark as well. And again, people keep saying this, poor Mark keeps getting dragged into all of this stuff, but it's a very good use case scenario because in YouTube's eyes, it seems like Mark can do no wrong these days. And I don't know why, but it seems like, so I've gotten stuff flagged before where Mark hasn't. And I think, because me and Mark are of a similar size and like make similar content, that to me was really bizarre. The only difference is that Mark has made like YouTube original shows with them. And I'm wondering if he was put into a different system so those shows wouldn't get flagged for some of the stuff that was in them. So now other stuff kind of gets a bit more leeway on it. Again, I don't know. I could be talking out of my ass and I don't want to put instances in place that aren't actually happening. But it's kind of hard not think about these things from this perspective. And I would love to be able to talk to someone at YouTube about this more in depth and see exactly, like, get some actual honesty out of it instead of being talked to in riddles. But this happened with Mark and Charlie before, where Charlie uploaded a video with the same clip that Mark reacted to years ago. And Charlie's video got a strike. It wasn't just like a claim. I think he legitimately got a strike on his channel, which is like the 3 strikes and you're out rule. And Mark didn't. So Mark made a video about it being like, where's my strike? And instead of addressing the problem and being like, oh yeah, we're inconsistent and that sucks and we're sorry, they just give Mark a strike. It's like, that's not the solution. That's not what we were talking about. And that's not the solution here either. We're not saying everybody should be flagged now because we're talking about it. It should be, maybe everyone should be flagged for the same things all the time, so it's consistent across everybody's channels and no one is being prioritized. No one's getting favoritism, or is the system just missing things, which is also a big problem. Like, what is actually going on? We don't know. And that's really disheartening to upload content. Like, there's sometimes when I'm like, I don't know if I should upload that because I don't know if it'll actually like go into the system. I don't know if it'll do well. I don't know if YouTube will actually serve this up to people. I don't know if it'll get flagged. I don't, like, all these things going through my head. And then it's just like, well, I just don't want to upload it now because it just killed the fun in uploading my own content. And that's why I make content, is just for the fun of it, just to like get out of my own head, a piece of escapism, to have fun with everybody at home. But the fact that like this year I've had to second guess absolutely everything I'm doing, down to like titles and thumbnails, because that's the new meta with everything. It's like you have to think of a title first and then think of a really slapping thumbnail that like clickbaits people into your video, instead of just having it be like, hey, I'm uploading an hour of this video that's a game and it's fun. And I just want to do it casually and like sit back, relax, and actually have my stuff served to the same people that it was always served to before. And now suddenly it's just vastly different. I don't get it. And it's hard to talk about this stuff as well, because I'm not trying to come at this from a perspective of like, oh, woe is me, my videos should be doing better. That's not the case. If I upload something that people just aren't interested in, that's totally fine. I absolutely get it. Like, I uploaded that Watcher video recently about the camera system for like a bigger universe that I'm building for Iris and like the egos and everything. And I get that that's jarring and it comes out of nowhere and it's not really anything that people can latch onto yet, because the whole world hasn't been built yet. So I get if something like that does a little differently, because people just don't know what to expect with it and just aren't that interested in it. But when I'm uploading like similar videos to some of my peers, and then it gets like punished for that because of something I did slightly differently than them, that's a really big issue to me, because everyone should be treated fairly on the platform if we're all going to rise again. Because this is coming from a perspective of like being a white dude on YouTube. And this comes back to Corey's video again, where he said he'll come back from a massive break, have huge videos, do massive numbers, and it's always super impressive to see. And then suddenly YouTube will come out of nowhere and start flagging videos from like 8 months ago when he wasn't uploading.
And every single time I start to get an uptick in traction, an uptick in activity, here comes YouTube coming through. Hey, let's get him for that video from 2019. Yeah, you see this, Corey? No, this is bad. It wasn't bad the 9 months that I was off the platform. It was only bad when I got back and I was #1 trending.
So why? Why are they getting flagged now when he's back and not when he's uploaded them, or not when he's on his break? It's suddenly like, now I'm gaining traction and attention again, and then YouTube punish him for it. Is it users flagging videos who maybe don't like him? Is it racists? Is it people at YouTube doing it? Nobody knows. So all he can do is like jump to his own conclusions based on the experience that he's been having. And that ends up in the video that he has. And that's why I'm making this video. And I saw that Ludwig made one as well, and Charlie made one, and Mark's probably going to make a video on this too, talking about those experiences as well. And I just hate how inconsistent everything is these days. As people who upload to this platform, that I've been doing it, I'll be doing it 10 years in December. I know what consistency looks like. I know what it's like to upload that often over long periods of time, and to suddenly have things shift and be so chaotic and so inconsistent is really jarring from my perspective. And I don't really know what to do about it, other than the fact that I just kind of don't want to upload videos right now. I mean, I have a couple of brand deals that I'm committed to, that I told people I would do, and like contracts and everything that I will do. But at the same time, after that, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to upload, because the ecosystem that's on YouTube right now is so bland and boring to upload to. Like, as an example as well, some of my videos were like really underperforming when I took like a week off. And I was like, well, I don't know why these are underperforming, because again, I know what my consistency looks like. I know what my average is. And then I upload these videos after taking time off, and it's like, are you punishing me for taking time away from my channel? Surely not. And if you're not, then why are these underperforming compared to like the average of what I'm normally doing, when they're the types of games that people are interested in? It's not just something out of nowhere that people wouldn't want to watch. And then it's like, were my title and thumbnail not good enough for what the current meta is, which is that like click-through rate, like getting people into the video immediately. And I feel like that ecosystem right now is all about like, what is the massive idea? Like, how much money am I giving away in a video? Like, I did this in this video and you'll never believe what happened. It's that kind of like clickbaiting into videos, instead of just being like, hey, I just want to upload a video game. Here's part 1, and not have to worry about like, how do I clickbait people into it? And that, I mean, I get it, because that's just my style of YouTube. That's just the way I like doing it. I come from a place of just more casualness and like the genuine side of YouTube, instead of trying to like do huge numbers. That's never been like my thing. So I get that at some point that kind of stuff was going to take over, and it's always kind of been on the platform anyway. But for me, it's just kind of like, it's kind of killing the fun of the platform. It's not why I do YouTube. So I'm like, why am I funneling into this system that's just not that fun to do right now? So I'm glad Corey made that video. I'm glad that it's the same as me talking about the spam comments a while ago. That is still kind of a problem. They brought in new filters and I got to like beta test it, and it did okay, but there's still a lot of it out there. You still see channels with like fake Mr. Beast profile pictures and then N-words in their name, or they'll have pornographic pictures as their profile picture and like sex in their name. And it's like, why is that stuff fine, but I have to jump through a million hoops just to upload a video? And that other stuff is way more easy to catch than any of the stuff that I'm doing is. Like, all of that stuff just kind of ruins the fun of it. And I don't blame Corey for taking breaks as often as he does, because why wouldn't you if you're not having as much fun? Because Corey comes from the same school of YouTube that I do, which is like, you just start off in your room and you play it and you just want to have fun with your audience and entertain and make as many jokes as possible and just get through a game and make it the most entertaining experience you can. And right now it feels like that's not the prime goal of content, because everybody has to have like a crazy idea first and then the content kind of forms around it. And in some ways that's great. In some ways that's increased the productivity on the platform and the production quality on the platform. And like, you get more information now in 10 minutes than you ever did. You can't just sit back and upload an unedited 10-minute video like you could back in the day. And that's better. I do like that stuff has to be a bit more involved. You have to try a little harder. You have to edit your videos a bit better. You have to keep people's attention a bit more. That stuff's great. I just think the extreme end of that is a bit concerning for where the platform is going. But I don't know. I'm curious to see what other people think in the comments. I'm curious what other YouTubers think. Am I alone in this? Is this just my experience for what I'm doing? But I thought I'd make a video about this kind of stuff anyway, to kind of like back up Corey too, because I'll always have his back. He's one of the more genuine people on the platform. So nice, doesn't swear, makes the most fun content he can for his audience. And I really respect and appreciate that. And even though I started like before him and he talks about how I inspired him a lot of the times, he's really inspiring me these days to like try harder with my content. So shout out to Corey. He's one of the best YouTubers on the platform. So that's why I want to back him up on this and talk about it as well. Because it's just a confusing time to kind of be on the platform where, I don't know, it's just kind of exhausting to have to overthink your content this much when it was just so much more fun before. But again, open to discussion. I don't have all the answers. I don't claim to either. I'm speaking from my own experience in these regards. So I'm very curious to see what everybody else thinks. Other YouTubers, other creators, other like people in the comments, anything at all. But I do think that this is a discussion worth having when it comes to YouTube about the inconsistencies with their systems and how many different variations and variables there are in it for uploading content, because it's starting to get really confusing and really annoying to do when I upload a video that's like my Stray video. I wanted to get that up on time when the game came out, had to wait till the next day because YouTube's systems were checking to see if it was okay. Took 9 hours to check it when sometimes it takes 20 minutes. And I have no idea why. And they couldn't tell me why either. Just their solution was like, maybe try re-uploading the video. But you can't re-upload the same video and have that one still checked, because you'll upload it and then YouTube will be like, this is the same video, so we're not uploading it. Like, what am I supposed to do? Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Curious to see what you guys think. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.
Now, I realize that when you call someone a racist, that's a very, very serious accusation. And for that matter, how do you expressly prove that someone is a racist? I mean, unless they're spamming the N-word in the chat. How do you really know? And admittedly, I cannot 100% prove that race had everything to do with this. But I can tell you the people on that policy team, those shadow people that are anonymous and get to enact their will however they see fit. How can we be sure that they take a black person's video and a white person's video, and it can be the same exact video, and they restrict the black person's video, but not the white person's video?